We have a ton of day baseball today and even more to talk about on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. We are brought to you by Vivid Seats. I'm Clay Link of RotoWire.com, here with FSWA Hall of Famer Todd Zola. And Todd, 3 games underway already this afternoon and more to come. One of those rare Fridays where more than one day game. Feels like that's kind of the max during the season. Of course, last week, Friday, there were no day games. So making up for it today.
Oh, well, a lot of opening days. And, usually it's Wrigley Field, but Wrigley Field is joined by, I think, 6 or 5 other games and a lot of home openers.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of teams finally debuting in front of their home crowd today.
Yeah, and is it Minnesota and Colorado? I should look it up. Yeah, one had their opener yesterday, and in Minnesota. It's not Colorado because Colorado's home today. Mm-hmm. Minnesota is off today. Did I just say Minnesota? Like I'm trying to pretend, like do their accent.
Minnesota.
They left Friday off, so in case there was a weather in Minnesota,
which is certainly possible now.
Oh yeah, actually it was
weird.
And I think it was delayed yesterday.
I think so. It has been so wacky here in Wisconsin. It was 80 one day last week, and then down to 35 like the next day. So it was, and then we had snow last week too. It was just always a weird time here in the upper Midwest. But Todd, I don't mean to overreact, but I feel like the Reds may never score again. Here lie the Reds. They never scored. Look, it's been 3 games, 3 straight 1-0 losses, 28 innings, scoreless.
It's cool when you accomplish something no one's ever done before, but this isn't what the Reds want. No. At the end of the year, we'll look at the 1-run losses and say they're on the wrong side of luck or whatever. But gosh, one hit here, one hit there. I was rooting for him because, you and Jeff, whatever. But it was like, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see this happen. Oh, it was terrible.
And after that big, 13-inning breakout on Monday, I think it was, it feels like they do this every single year. And I was actually looking back. They had a very similar stretch April 2nd through 6th of 2019 where they went 30 innings without scoring. So
it happens.
It's kind of an organizational thing, I guess.
They're running. It's like they're trying to manufacture. It's not that they're not collecting. It's one of those things. If this happened in September or July, it would be noticed. But it's just one of those things, and it's an offense that should put up some points.
Some points.
It wasted. I love watching Lodolo yesterday. Lodolo was carving it up. So was Nestor. But Lodolo was fun to watch.
Nestor with a big rebound performance against the Reds. That's a get-right type of match right now that Nestor needed. And, the Reds, Hunter Green, Nick Martinez, Nick Lodolo, they've been getting such great pitching performances during this stretch and just cannot buy a run right now. Although Matt McClain's off to a great start. So he and Ellie having some issues, in the field, and we'll see. But it's the rest of that lineup just not hitting. Jeimer Candelario looks just completely lost. I'm kind of wondering if Noelvi Marte or Will Benson, maybe one of those guys, could be back soon.
We interrupt this podcast for a Trevor Story home run.
Ooh, I just dropped him in the top.
4-0 over Eric Petty in the top of the first. Only 1 out. Anyway.
Wow.
Oh, all right. So the thing this year is apparently they're putting on the Wally monster head as they walk down the dugout and do their high fives.
So the vibes aren't totally off there, despite that poor start that Devers got off to. The vibes trending upward. Ooh, wow.
Willie Abreu, back-to-back.
Gosh, he's been awesome this year.
Put a play-by-play on my resume.
Well, Willie Abreu has been one of the nice stories of the early going here. His 3rd homer now.
Yeah.
Had that crazy series in Texas to start. He loves hitting it Globe Life, apparently.
Yeah, apparently likes hitting the Fenway, too. That head's going to get sweaty if they have to put on the head for home runs, that Wally mask, that Wally head thing. But Yeah, I recommended to one of the things we're doing for ESPN, pitches to stream, pitches to avoid. Even my fandom said avoid Eric Fetty. I'm glad that one came through. Not that that was a big call, right? I mean, but
Hey, you got to avoid the disasters, and
yeah.
That's one that you sidestepped there. That's good.
Yep.
Well, we're going to be doing our usual thing here on the show, grading 2-star pitchers for next week. But first, let's talk about some of the pickups from last night in the RotoWire Stake League.
Yeah.
16 managers here, 16-team league. You are not in this league, but I am, and I was the top spender last night. Dennis Santana at 18. David Bednar not only removed from the closer role, but optioned off the roster after a rough start. It was only one inning, but 3 appearances, and he just, was really struggling with command and control and just far too hittable. So they made the move, and Dennis Santana picks up a save subsequently. So maybe Bednar figures things out and gets back into the role. But after, I believe, Luke Jackson went for, I think, 17 last week, 18 was the number I settled on. And I need a closer, so I was pretty happy to land him at that price.
Yeah, the reports, there's no reports of injury. And the velocity...
For Bednar, right?
For Bednar, David Bednar.
Yeah,
the velocity, his fantasy managers may be a little injured, or at least butt hurt. But they're glass half full, like I am, because I drafted him early. Him and Alexis Diaz. I'm holding out hope that they both figure it out and get back in there. Santana, he's not a bad stopgap. And if you need 5 or 6 or 7, if that's going to be a difference, you usually have fab left over at the end. You're not going to be like wishing you had more fab. You got to, you made the right call. 17, 18. Hey, you were smart there. Was there do you guys know what the next high bid was?
I could check here in a moment.
That's
I'll have to see, but yeah, I mean, I was happy with it. I emerged from the draft with only Aroldis Chapman. I did draft who else? Oh, Chris Martin, somebody else who didn't pan out. So needed another closer. We'll see. Relative closer prices last night: Anthony Bender for 8. Tommy Canely for 7, Emilio Pagan for 4. But behind Dennis Santana was Jordan Hicks at 16. I think I had $4 or $5 on Hicks. We've seen what he can do when things are rolling, but it does feel like, at least for me, it's just a ticking, it's a clock. It's when is he going to run out of steam again? It happened last year. Did go 6 innings, only 1 hit. Over 6 scoreless, struck out 6 in his debut. So
Houston, yeah.
And that was at Houston, yeah. So I certainly get, if you need, I need saves, if you need wins and strikeouts, makes sense, even if maybe a little on the high end for me personally.
And most impressive about that outing, he only had 72 pitches.
Yeah.
6 innings, 72 pitches. It sounds like, well, first of all, San Francisco got a pretty decent bullpen because Duvall stepped it up. I mean, he got to say when Ryan Walker was unavailable, I think maybe an illness, I don't remember, but their bullpen's looking good, the Giants. So I can understand why you took Hicks out. I heard our colleagues James and Eric talking about Hicks on the XXM show, and they both agreed that it's a not what you've done for you lately, but a bid for now, right? I mean, he's a hot commodity. You need a starter now, like you said, until the velocity drops or he gets hurt, and at that point, you find somebody else. Kind of what you're doing with the closer. You got to get the guy, and you worry about fab later.
Well, next up here we have Jack, and I'm on his baseball reference page, so I'm going to try to get his pronunciation right. Kohanowitz. I tried Kochanowitz, Kohanowitz, apparently, of the Angels, and quality start in his first appearance of the season. 6 innings, 2 earned runs, had 4 strikeouts against 0 walks. The problem is last year, 25 strikeouts and 65 in the third inning.
Yeah.
I'll say that again, 25 strikeouts and 65 in the third innings for a 3.4 K per 9. Maybe he's found us a little something else, and we know our friend Uncle Ted loves this guy. for reasons unknown to me personally. But Jack Kohanowitz, at least in terms of results, maybe not the underlying numbers, but the results have been pretty positive.
All right, it was against the White Sox, but the White Sox have been off to a pretty good start.
Yeah.
So
Benintendi's playing pretty well. When I was looking, and Vargas got let off the game with a hit today. I've been poo-pooing Vargas. Maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know. Offered a couple trades, and I said, no, thank you. But he's leading off. Well, he's leading off means he's going to hurt your batting average even more. But we'll see. But, that was an Ian Khan conversation, if you can believe that. So the Kohanowitz, I call no strikeouts of Witz. He didn't even strike out guys double A as a 23-year-old. So it wasn't a transition. So I don't know. So risky. The Angels Stadium is not the pitcher's park that it was in previous years. So it's a risk. But in a 16, 18 team league that we're talking about, there's not going to be 7, tight tier 1 starters. You got to go out this way. You got to do this. Yeah, I'm with you there. Then Wilmer Flores of the Giants, an $8 pickup, 4 homers already for Flores. Kind of feels like when you go chasing those, it's immediately when it's going to start drying up.
But he's playing regularly.
Yeah, playing against lefties and righties, right?
Yeah. Well, that's not a necessity with my man Gerard Encarnacion out.
Yeah, that's true. So, he's been around the block a long time. If you need some help, I could see it, but I feel like this will be one where you go chasing, then you're left disappointed a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Unless you just expect the regular old Wilmer Flores, and that's fine. But no, I think you're right. He'll hit lefties fine, but...
Mm-hmm. Now, Kyle Stowers was a $7 pickup, and he has his first homer of the season. Playing pretty well, actually. 883 OPS. Didn't have a very good spring. He also has a stolen base and 6 walks to only 7 Ks. So if you need an outfielder, it's kind of a wasteland there overall in Miami. But Kyle Stowers had some pedigree with Baltimore and seems like he's at least seeing the ball pretty well and going to be playing pretty much every day. So maybe better options out there in a lot of leagues. But I think Stowers, if you really need an outfielder, could make some sense.
It's that last statement that matters to me. Going to be playing every day.
Yeah.
And he was on my draft champions teams and stuff like that. He's going to play every day. Right now we care more about that than 4 for 9 with 2 homers or whatever it might be.
True. Then James picked up Mason Montgomery. I got him in Derek Van Riper's Maki League, the mixed auction keeper invitational as a reserve pick, and just seeing how nasty he looks early on. I don't know if he's all that close to closing and traditional mixed league relevance, but the lefty's looking very closer-ish so far with what he's doing. Only a couple appearances before strikeouts, no walks over 2 scoreless innings, 2 hits allowed, and at least as a ratios play, makes some sense. And then who knows, maybe if something were to happen to Pete Fairbanks, maybe it would be Montgomery and not Uceta who steps in.
If something happens.
Good point. A win.
Yeah, Montgomery was interesting because he teased some of this last year. It was only 9 appearances in 9 2/3 innings, but I couldn't completely override his work as a starter. I did some translations or whatever, and I had him like a mid-4s ERA, which one particular person asked for my opinion, and I may regret saying, well, the best I can do is give him a mid-4. So it looks like it may be half of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I'm with you on that. Now, a couple other pickups here. Andre Payante was another guy I picked up. Now, this lineup period, he's facing your Red Sox in Boston. Didn't want to have to start him, but I had a bunch of relievers in my lineup. So I am going to be rolling the dice on Andre Payante this week.
He makes Jack K look dominant.
True, but past 3 seasons, each of the prior 3 seasons, opponent barrel rate under 4%. That was 12.5% in his debut, of course, this year. So kind of selective picking there, but Payante, whenever I see him, I think he looks pretty good, but the numbers definitely leave you wanting more.
Well, the barrel rate, a low barrel rate, usually implies a lot of ground balls. That's part of the barrel rate is the launch angle, and he the corollary, not corollary, but the repercussion is gives up a lot of hits, a lot of traffic. So it's a trade-off. It's a low ERA and high WHIP. Fly ball pitchers have a low WHIP and a high ERA. So.
And just lastly, in relation to these pickups, that order with the closers that I mentioned, Dennis Santana, Anthony Bender, Tommy Kahnle, Emilio Pagan, is that kind of how you'd have them? I think I might have Tommy Kahnle and a Bender personally.
Yeah, but it's like asking me to rank a Wendy's, McDonald's, and a Burger King burger. I don't know. I like them all, but none of them are really good for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to put it. Jeez.
I'd rather have a steak, but anyway. Looking at Piante's ground ball to fly ball, 4.4, 11.5, 3.2, and 4. So that's the answer. The low barrel rate because he puts the ball on the ground, but he gives up a ton of hits.
Yeah, it's not one I feel good about this weekend, but let me see. Who was the reliever that I didn't have to swap out, but Tony Santillan, who's been good, but it looks like he's not in that closer mix right now if the Reds ever get another save chance.
Well, they're not going to score any runs, so they're not going to.
Yeah.
Man, they're going to score. They're going to bust out with a 4 spot tonight.
Big breakout game coming, huh? All right, well, let's pause briefly. We'll get into our 2-star pitchers for next week here momentarily, but we'll pause for a quick prepaid word from our sponsors. All right, we're back here on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Clay Link here with Todd, Zola. Todd's Red Sox have put up a 5 spot on St. Louis today. Detroit leads the White Sox 5-1. Cubs out to an early 1-0 lead, and a bunch of games getting started here soon. So we'll, if anything big happens, we'll be sure to let you know. Looking ahead to next week, and you can follow along with us with our probable pitchers grid over at RotoWire. Be sure to customize the grid with a custom start date of April 7th, 2025. Show starters. And number one on the list was a guy who absolutely dominated the Yankees this week. He was spinning it up there, and they didn't have much of a chance, torpedo bat or not. 13 strikeouts per gallon against the Yankees. Quite an improvement over his debut when he went only 4 innings against the Cubs, gave up 4 runs in those 4 innings at home. 4 walks and 4 strikeouts in that game. Then go from 4 strikeouts to 4 walks to 13-0. Pretty impressive. So Zach Gallen versus Baltimore versus Milwaukee. 2 home starts. I think he's back in that 5 range.
Yeah, there are it's a lot of 1s and 2s going this week. So, this would be a top 5 star, guy a lot of weeks, but he's not because there's so many good ones, but he's a 5 for sure.
And then Luis Severino, the ace of the West Sacramento A's. Now, he's got 2 home starts, and it's only been 3 games, but we've kind of seen how tiny that park is now it plays. Jacob Wilson got his first homer, by the way.
He muscled up, though. He put on some muscle over the off season.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't hit a single homer last year, and then he hit a couple in spring training, and then he has his first. But I just see this park, and it just looks like a little bandbox. So, do you see that little storage shed they're having media in, by the way? Yeah,
it's actually the very close dimensions to the Coliseum. But I think we're thrown off at the Coliseum because of the huge stands and the football field. It just looks bigger than it is. It's the foul territory.
The huge foul territory, yeah.
Yeah, in the batter's eye, crooked stands. It's not the greatest. But the thing in Sacramento is the weather. And it's supposed to cool down the second half of the season at night. But before then, that place is going to play small.
Yeah, it looks like it will. I'm going to give Severino probably only a 1, just versus San Diego. San Diego's off to a fantastic start. And versus the Mets, I don't like it. Are you going even positive digits here?
I am, yeah. I mean, it's Severino. I want to go 2, but I think you're probably right. I tend to be aggressive, as we know, early in the year. I also tend to pardon the pun, torpedo my teams early in the year, harpoon my teams or whatever. I'm going to go 1, but gosh, if I'm faced with that decision, I'm probably going to use it just because, I don't know. It'd be silly of me to do it, but you know what? 1, and I'm not going to start him if I have him.
I think when we talked last week, we didn't even have a name for these bats officially. I didn't even think they were known as torpedo bats, generally among the wider public. Now they're being labeled. Players using these bats are being labeled as such on Yahoo. So
yeah, which is
how quickly the world changes.
I'd rather know who will go into drive line. I mean, we don't. We're talking 2-star pitchers, but the thing with the torpedo bats is the barrel is the same thickness as the regular barrel. It's just located in a different spot, and it's located customized to the player in his swing and where he usually makes contact. The bat makers are pretty smart. They put the regular barrel where most players hit the ball. So it's not like you need to. Aaron Judge using the regular bat because the regular bat's where he hits the ball. It's already suited for him. So it's just a matter of moving the meat to meet the particular player's swings. So I think we're going a little bit overboard with and then of course your buddy Ellie picks a bat up and hits a home run, but Ellie can hit a home run with a fungo. He doesn't need it.
Yeah.
So I think it's not much ado about nothing because it's physics and it's cool, but it's not the be all end all either.
And I wouldn't be making lineup decisions based on who is and who isn't using that personally. But to each their own. Chris Sale for Atlanta Braves, not really like the dominant Chris Sale yet. I thought he pitched okay against the Dodgers. I was watching that game. Pitched pretty well until his last inning, and I think one of the runners scored after he left, an inherited runner. But a 5.40 ERA versus Philly at Tampa Bay, so at Steinbrenner Field, another minor league park. But as long as he's healthy and rolling, Chris Sale's probably going to still be a 5 for me. What say you, Todd?
If we go 6, I would. No, he's fine. I'm not worried about Chris Sale.
What about Zach Eflin? He will be at Arizona, then versus Toronto, tentatively, for Zach Eflin. Now, we know that the quote-unquote Baltimore out in Baltimore has changed the dimension, so it's not quite as pitcher-friendly, but you look at these, and I'm probably going to go at least a 2. Am I low on Eflin? It feels like I
think it might be, but who knows? I mean, Arizona scored some runs.
Yeah.
Toronto still the jury's still out. My rankings have in the 4 range. I may be a 3. I have to double check. I mean, they were very quick rankings. But
3 feels
right. I think.
Yeah, 3 feels a little better. Although only 7 Ks in 12 innings so far.
Right. What if
only
you had 9?
one walk?
I mean, if you had 9, we say it's Eflin doesn't strike a lot of guys out. So I don't get too concerned about it.
True.
But you're right. I mean, yeah, and Arizona doesn't strike out a ton, and it just depends on which Toronto we see.
Now, were you celebrating earlier this week when your Red Sox signed Garrett Crochet to that extension?
If I drank again, I may have, but no. I'm very happy. And Christian Campbell was signed. We'll see what goes on from here. But I think it's a good sign that this regimen, this administration, is willing to do such things. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would have been tough to trade for the guy like this and then potentially see him walk in free agency. Much more his dominant self in his second start, 8 Ks over 8 scoreless. His debut wasn't all that bad, but only 4 Ks in 5 innings there. So I think Crochet was being drafted kind of up in that top 5 among pitchers, and I think that's probably right. So I'm looking at Garrett Crochet with this two-step versus Toronto at the White Sox. I think that's got to be a 5.
He's my number 3 pitcher on the board. I mean, without a doubt. There's 3 lefties. No, it's my number 1. What am I saying? We've already got Crochet. We already got Sale. Spoiler alert for number 2. Nick will be happy. But I got 3 lefties at the top of the board this week. So that'll have to be my headline. I think my teasing headline for the rankings piece will be, I don't know, something about lefties.
I like it. But now, right-hander Tanner Houck, not off to a very good start, 6.52 ERA.
Not one of my top 3.
He's also versus Toronto than at the White Sox. So have you gotten eyes on Houck? Any takeaways on how he's looked so far?
To me, he's the same old. He kind of made some adjustments last year. I'm waiting to see if it kind of goes deeper into games. If Alex Cora, he took the kid gloves off last year, little early to tell this year. I think he's going to be one of those solid mid-rotation guys that we say if he fanned more batters, he'd be higher ranked. But he's just that's not what he does. He's not like a Jackie Noke like we talked about earlier, or even Beyonce. But I don't think he's going to be dominant.
One thing I'm just seeing, looking at the stats here, is with Houck, he's already given up 3 homers through 2 starts. Only gave up 11 homers in 178.2 innings last year. So the home run rate is up.
Such a time clock,
Yeah, and that's a good point. Regression was inevitable for him, but also 5 walks and 9 2/3. So walks and homers conspiring to do some damage here on Tanner Houck early. We had a question from our friend Paul Bruno. Hey, Paul. He wanted to know our opinion on Casey Mize. Looks like a better version of himself this spring. And, Mize, I was a little surprised to see Jackson Jobe get that 4 spot in the rotation. But then Mize came out and pitched really well in his 2025 debut. At Seattle, only 1 hit allowed. 6 Ks, 3 walks. Tough for me to trust right now, but let me look at our projected starters here.
There are tangible reasons. I don't remember them off the top of my head. I drowned those brain cells that remember these things when I was younger. A pitch change or an added velocity. I think with Mize, it's an added pitch. I forget what it is. Velocity's not significantly different. Anytime there's something tangible, you have to be interested. You can act on it a little early. I think Eric and I are going to be talking about this on the MLB Network show, and that sometimes you have to make snap judgments based upon small sample data. But if there's something, swing bat speeds up or a new pitch, gives you a reason, and sometimes that's all you need is a reason. I think Mize is in that boat.
Yeah, we'd all love to wait for more evidence with a lot of guys, but in today's environment where guys are getting scooped up so quickly, you can't really always wait for more evidence.
Yeah, the cause and effect. If you have a cause, you can hope on the effect. If there's no cause, then same old. And we didn't actually grade Houck. I'm going 3. I don't know what you were.
Good call. Yeah, okay. I'm going lower than that. I'm going to go 2, but I got you down as a 3.
Okay. Yep.
And we'll get to Mize grade officially here shortly because he is lined up for 2 next week. What's the new trendy pitch everybody's throwing nowadays? Kick change.
The kick change, yeah.
Yeah, last year it was the sweeper that was the in vogue offering, but now it's the kick change. I don't know if that's what Mize is throwing. I'll have to look into it, but I keep hearing about the kick change, which is something I never heard of before that. So next up here we have Justin Steele, the lefty for the Chicago Cubs versus Texas at the Dodgers. That's a tough 2-step, especially if the wind's blown out in Wrigley on Monday.
He's had a rough start. I mean, he pitched well in the second game.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Arizona, I believe? And he opened against the Dodgers, right, in Japan. Then Arizona, the number 1 run-scoring team in the league, and now he gets the Dodgers again at the end of the week, and Texas in between. That's a rough start for Justin Steele.
Yeah, it's running into some tough matchups here early on for Justin Steele, and Going to be probably tough to navigate this one. The Dodgers look unstoppable. The Reds will never win again, and the Dodgers will never lose again.
And the Padres, if the Padres win today before the Dodgers play, they're going to be tied.
That's amazing.
At 8-0.
Well, I think the White Sox were in first place, so it's too early to mean much. But
you know what?
Point taken.
Same thing goes with your fantasy standings, because if all these weird things are happening in MLB, this is my way of justifying why I'm doing terrible so far. If the real standings are goofy, then the players that are performing and getting these teams up there, my teams are anyway. I finally looked at my standings because we had to do the NFBC half week move, so I was kind of forced to glance at my standings just because I couldn't avoid it and still click on the bright team. So it wasn't very good. Anyway,
well, we advised everybody last week to not check their standings, but I did too. I have to admit. So.
Justin Steele.
I have a 2 on Steele.
I'm still on board, and I may drop him to a 3 because of the Dodgers, but I still think he's going to be fine by the end of the year.
Wow, so you're going 4.
I have him ranked as a 4. I think I'm going to drop him to a 3 in our rankings.
I have a 2 just because of the matchups, but I got you down as a 3.
Yeah. My baseline's higher on Steele. He's one of my guys.
Now, Hunter Green, he has not been the source of the issues with the Reds. He's been pitching like a legitimate ace. 2.25 ERA so far. 0-1 record to show for it, of course. But at San Francisco, so he goes from that small park in Cincinnati to a big spacious park for his next start. Then home against Pittsburgh. Pretty nice 2-step here. I think Hunter Green has graduated into the comfortable 5 range for me.
Number 6 overall for me this week. Yeah. Actually, number 5 because I have the name. Yeah. So he's my 5th. He's my 5th highest ranked guy this week. Yeah, 5 easily.
Yeah, let's go Reds. Even though they usually do not do well on those West Coast road trips, but hopefully Terry Francona, Chris Valaika can get through to these guys. Logan Allen for the Cleveland Guardians. Lefty's got a 6.75 ERA so far this season, but pretty favorable home 2-step versus the White Sox versus the Kansas City Royals. So a couple at home, really tough for me to trust. This was actually my pick to win this division. But so far, the pitching has been pretty shaky. I mean, Tanner Bybee's been good, Gavin Williams, but then Luis Ortiz, Ben Lively, and Logan Allen have all been pretty shaky. But I think with these matchups, I'll give Logan Allen a 1. Don't feel good about it, but the matchups push him into positive territory.
Yeah, I agree. It's not the weather should be favorable, both home games. Pesky but not daunting offenses. Yeah, I think a one's fair.
What about Kyle Freeland? He's got to go home to Colorado to face the Brewers, and then at San Diego. A guy who's the underlying skills, but we say it all the time. Colorado is undefeated. San Diego's hot right now, so even though he has a 2.13 ERA, I just can't see a scenario where I'd feel good about turning Kyle Freeland loose in a lineup. So I think I'm gonna go 0.
I'm going 0. He's my lowest ranked 2-start pitcher of the week. Yeah, no, he's going to be a 0. Given
the result, 0, but matchups, home park, every underlying skills, I think you stay away from Kyle Freeland for your own sanity. Now, here's a guy I picked up also in Derek Van Riper's Maki League. I started him this week. Turned out okay. It was fine. Shane Smith of the White Sox, Rule 5 pick. At Cleveland versus Boston. Looks like, pretty good stuff. I saw James bumped him up in the prospect rankings about, I want to say like 175 or so. So, not like a super highly touted guy, but he's, as a Rule 5 pick coming over to the White Sox, he's kind of starting to make a name for himself. At Cleveland versus Boston. I think I'm only going to go 1. I didn't feel good about starting him this week against Minnesota. Still turned him loose, but would like to avoid it if I could.
Yeah, I'd like to say 2. I think I'm going to say 2 and probably regret it. But I mean, 1 or 2. I mean, we're on the edges here. But yeah, it's not. It won't be long before he could be the 4th starter of a very, very solid rotation.
Who's the pitching coach there for the White Sox? Let me do a quick search here.
Not sure. You want? I can look it up while you introduce.
Ethan Katz.
Okay.
Ethan Katz. I don't know. I like what I've seen from Shane Smith in the spring. A lot of pitching ninja highlights. So maybe they can unlock something there. And
they've got Sean Burke's already up and doing well, and the 2 kids down on the farm, Hagen and Hagen Smith, and the guy that I really like that I'm blocking on his name right now.
Noah Schultz.
Noah Schultz.
I think. Yeah.
That's gonna be a heck of a staff.
Yeah, I mean, how crazy? I mean, I really don't think it's going to happen, but how insane would it be if they actually won that division? That division looks terrible, by the way. I still think it's going to be, Kansas City or Cleveland.
I mean, they're going to beat up on each other.
Jesus Christ returning to Earth had better odds. I read that Jesus Christ returning to Earth winning the division this year, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. Maybe not, but it feels like they have. Casey Mize, we just talked about earlier. Now he's versus the Yankees at Minnesota. This is one where we talked about, if you need somebody, maybe you jump at the early results, take a chance on what we're seeing early. I think that makes some sense with Mize, but with these matchups, Minnesota is a pretty nice matchup now. I might go 3 on Mize.
I'm with you, but it's with one of those upward arrow 3s, right? I think we could. I think we could be seeing. He's not going to be an ace, I don't think, but I think we could be seeing something.
Hayden Wesneski got some love in the chat as Uncle Ted's number 1 2-star pitcher this week. At Seattle versus the Angels, that's that kind of bumps him up at least 1 number in my mind with those matchups. I don't know if I can go 4 yet, but I think I'm going to put him on par with Mize and go 3 on Wesneski given the matchups.
All right, listen. Hayden Wesneski is the number 1 ranked Hayden this week. Let's not get carried away. I'm still going to go 1. It's talent. It's there. We haven't seen it yet. I know the matchups are favorable, but I'm probably using them. But I'm only going to rank him as a 1 for now.
Only as a 1, okay. Well, that's good to have a dissenting opinion there.
Want to see it? I mean, the talent is there. Talent has been there for a lot of guys. Let's see it. I think it's gonna happen. Like I said, I'm going to use it.
Well, a couple. Michael Lorenzen and Cole Reagans. Reagan's going to be a 5, but Lorenzen, kind of interesting. I had a bid in on him in the stake league. I think I had Payante just a little higher. Now Lorenzen and Reagans versus Minnesota at Cleveland, so a couple interdivisional games here, and I think I'm only going to go 2 on Lorenzen and then 5 on Reagans.
Yeah, Reagans. He's my number 2 starter overall, and Reagans is the guy this week. Lorenzen. I don't mind him in Kauffman Stadium. The second game at Progressive. You know what? I'm going to go with you on the 2. I don't love the pitcher, but the matchups are worth it.
Yeah, I mean, he's tantalized in the past. Wasn't he an all-star like a couple years ago, Lorenzen?
Yeah.
Obviously a long-time Red. Once was the Reds' best center fielder. A couple years ago,
he was their best center fielder.
I mean, legitimately, he was.
Fortunately, not so much anymore, but he was. He was actually going to try to be a 2-way guy to try to get the Royals that roster exemption like Ohtani has, but he didn't follow through with it.
Yeah, I remember that. Lorenzen was indeed an all-star in 2023, so we've seen a pretty high level for him, but just not over a huge sample, a couple months.
Well, it relies on the ball.
Still ended up with a 4.18 ERA, 1.20.
Yeah, It's like
Yeah.
Lugo. He relies on
Not
the
a
ball
bad
moving
arm,
play
but
and-
just
yeah.
absolutely. Well, next up here, the Angels, Kyle Hendricks at Tampa Bay, at Houston. Old reliable Kyle Hendricks, except not all that reliable.
Not anymore.
Innings eater, and had some good years in his past. I think I'm gonna go 0 here. Him in Tampa
Going
Bay.
0.
That sounds.
Yeah, I can't do it. That's a 0.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. All right. Next up, Dustin May. I thought he looked pretty good in his first start since 2023. I think it was. He was opposite Sale in that game last weekend, and pretty emotional. His girlfriend in the stands watching him, and pretty amazing what he was able to do after such a long layoff. At Washington versus the Cubs. I'm going to turn this one over to you to start. What do you say on Dustin May of the Dodgers?
I think it's kind of like a 4 setup, but I'm going to say 3 because I don't know about the innings. He may only go 5 with that bullpen. So I'm going to say 3.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3 too. I just, as good as he looked, man, Atlanta's been pretty rough offensively. So, I don't know. I mean, it could just be like a stepping stone for him, and he's still improving and still getting better, stretched out. But I do think maybe there is some, definitely some regression coming to his spotless ERA so far. But a little bit of hesitation here for me on May, but still a 3. Just would maybe not turn him loose everywhere.
Right.
If you have him everywhere. Now, Connor Gillespie at the Mets versus Washington. Would you consider him under any circumstances? I think I'm going to go 0.
I'm not even sure I'd use them in an all Gillespie league, and there's a couple of them, right? None of them are any good. No, I'm going 0.
And Freddie Peralta. Now, here's kind of a tough one. I think you're probably using him, but at Colorado, at Arizona. A little bit of a tough two-step there out in the NL West. So, I think did he set a new career high for, what was it? Tied a career high with 8 innings.
Yeah.
He's got 16 Ks in 13 innings. Only 1 walk, so 16 to 1 K to walk. I'd probably turn him loose, not thinking, not worrying too much about the matchups, but I think I'm only going to go 4 just to kind of reflect the difficulty.
Right. And again, Arizona's the number 1 run scoring team in the league last year anyway. I'm with you. I think I'm using them. I forget which league it is, but I have them in at least one league. I'm going 4. It's going to get strikeouts.
Well, we'll pause briefly. I got to bring you a quick prepaid word from our sponsor, Vivid Seats. Finally, baseball is back. This MLB season, knock it out of the park with Vivid Seats and score great tickets to the biggest games of the year. Every fastball, every home run, and every eye-popping play from your favorite team, live and in person. Plus, with Vivid Seats rewards, you can earn rewards with every single purchase. Just buy 10 tickets, then cash in your credit toward your free 11th ticket. Talk about an easy win, and here's a pro reward tip. When buying tickets for your whole group, split the bill and make progress towards your free 11th ticket even faster. From behind the dugout to the upper deck, Vivid Seats has great tickets for all the 2025 games that matter to you. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, experience it live. See vividseats.com/rewards for terms and conditions. Appreciate their sponsorship, of course. And back to our 2-star pitcher grades for next week. Simeon Woods Richardson. Now, not a guy I'd consider under most circumstances, but at KC versus Detroit. And same 2-step for Pablo Lopez here. I think I'm going to give Simeon Woods Richardson a 1. Are you going above 0 here, or am I crazy?
I'm wondering if I'm going to 2. I think I'm going to stick with a 1, but I'm using him because I think there's a bit of an up arrow with Richardson as well. He's not consistent yet. I think it's there. There's something there, but it needs to be a little more consistent. But I mean, Lopez to me still a 5. Otherwise, He's shaky at times, but to me, he's still a 5.
Same here. Uncle Ted in the chat mentioned that the Twins have Woods Richardson on a pretty short leash, and he did only go 4 innings. His debut did strike out 5, but 5 hits and a walk. We'll see if that leash lengthens at all to come. But I think just a 1 for right now. But yeah, I think I'm with you on the generally the positive trend upward for Woods Richardson.
Well,
he's able to go a little deeper.
He was kind of on my, I don't say avoid list, but not my not impressed list. He showed me enough in the spring to at least put him on my radar.
Cool. Well, next up, Cody Senga versus Miami at the Athletics. So he's got to go face that tough ballpark in Sacramento. But the home matchup against Miami looks great. Now they kind of put him in that 5th spot, to manage him a little bit coming off the lost year, essentially a fully lost year. One start in the regular season last year. Then I think he had a couple appearances in the postseason. Senga, but either way,
abbreviated, but yeah.
But let me just double check something here on Senga.
While you're doing that, Ivan Herrera with a 3-run opposite field shot.
Good grief!
Walker Buehler bringing the 6-4 Red Sox over the Cardinals now.
And Ivan Herrera, how about him?
Yeah.
But Senga, just wanted to clarify, did go 5 innings Tuesday, so 8 Ks too. Only 1 walk to give up a homer, but I'm not really concerned about them being real cautious with him. I think they may keep him on a leash a little bit until he's further removed from the injuries, but able to go 5, and I think with these matchups versus Miami at the Athletics, I think I'm going to go 4 on Senga.
I'm going 5.
Yeah,
and I'm not. I know at Athletics could be scarier than we think, but I'm still going 5.
Gotcha.
I think there's some strikeouts in that lineup.
Yeah, I do worry a little bit about that. Just the A's in Sacramento. But Senga's got the talent to navigate that lineup for sure. No 2-star pitchers for the Yankees. They're still going. Or let's see here. Yeah, they are going 6-man, right? Well, they were expecting Clark Schmidt to be back.
Right.
Yeah, he's on the IL right now. We have him through a 3-inning simulated game on Monday. We're projecting him for the end of next week. So no 2-star pitchers for the Yankees. Zach Wheeler, here's an easy one. That's an easy 5.
My top-rated right-hander, which puts him at number 4. Yep.
Ooh, do we got a second Kerry Carpenter homer today?
I saw the first.
Wow.
We got good. I was watching the game when he got the first one. Yep, he's another guy that isn't playing as much outfield. That he's got outfield this year, but I hope he plays a little more. But he's just not that good an outfielder. I say second as if people know what I'm talking about. Brent Rooker has not played the outfield yet, and I've been waiting for him to get outfield eligibility. It may not happen.
Yeah, 2 today for Kerry Carpenter, and Riley Green's got 1 today too. So they're teeing off.
I'd love it if Carpenter's was one against the lefty, but I don't know. Let's see. I'll look it up.
By the way, Justin Henry Malloy leading off against a righty today.
Yeah.
A little surprising to me, but their lineup's kind of been a little bit in flux, so thought he would mostly be leading off against lefties, but Malloy maybe carving out a little. We'll see. But back to our 2-star pitchers for next week. Sorry, this is Carmen Bledzinski. We had him on the list last week, I think. Both had 0s. Going the same this week.
Carpenter's second was against the lefty. I'd like to see that. Anyway.
Wow. Well, yeah, I think hopefully Carmen Bledzinski doesn't keep getting seconds are pushed back, so we don't have to keep talking about him. But he'll be a 0 here. Michael King at the Athletics versus Colorado. Man, this King, Cease, Pivetta is pretty darn good top 3. Now they have broken up. They do have Randy Vasquez in that or in the rotation, but I think it's pretty clear that King, Cease, and Pivetta the top three. And how about Kyle Hart, by the way? Picking up his first career win in Major League Baseball and looking pretty good. Michael King, I'm kind of hesitant to put him 5, but I think he might have reached that status. I think I'm going to go 5.
He's not. I'm not hesitating. He's a 5 for me anyway.
No hesitation, huh?
No hesitation.
No hesitation on this next one either. Logan Gilbert's a 5.
Yep.
He's got to face the Texas teams next week versus Houston and versus Texas, both at home. So that's kind of nice. Logan Webb versus Cincinnati at the Yankees. So second going up opposite Hunter Green when they face off. So versus Cincinnati at the Yankees, probably a 5. I mean, until otherwise, Logan Webb's a 5.
He's a 5. He's in the. There's a lot of 5s. He's in the lower end of my 5 because we said a lot of number 1s and 2s going lower end of the 5s, but he's still a 5.
Mm. Now here's the tough one: Matthew Liberatore at Pittsburgh versus Philly, Pennsylvania 2-step. Although the second one's in St. Louis. I'm not going to go 0 here because the matchup against Pitt immediately makes him kind of intriguing. Did have a quality start in his 2025 debut. I'm going to go 2, I think, on Liberatore. He's
convinced you a little more than he's convinced me. I'm going to stick with a 1, although, he's definitely got the up arrow. He always has had the talent. I don't know, is he post-hype at this point? He may qualify as post-hype. Not that there's a textbook definition, but anyway.
Yeah, I would say so. And the Wizard of Boz, Shane Boz, struck out 10 in his debut this season. 6 scoreless innings. Did have 7 hits allowed, but no walks, and that's what you want to see if you're the Rays, especially now that they're down Shane McClanahan. Having guys like Boz step up is huge. Versus the Angels, versus Atlanta. So the first matchup great, second one not as good, but the Braves are struggling. So I'm kind of thinking Shane Boz might be up in the 4 range for me.
Yep, he's in the 4 range. You know who's the 5? Victor Scott is flashing the leather today. Anyway.
Is he?
Oh, yes. He is showing why he won the job. And Fenway center field is not easy to play, and he is showing his worth.
Oh, quite a bit of scoring in that Red Sox game. 6-4 in the bottom of the 4th, huh?
Very temperate temperatures. Yep, very good, very good weather.
And let's see here in this Mets home opener, we got a Pete Alonso homer. Seems like Pete's kind of locked in now.
Yep, he's got it going.
Giving those Mets fans at home something to cheer about in that opener. Next up, Nathan Eovaldi absolutely shoved against. Incredible. Rare to see him game, but he's really pretty rare at any point in this day and age of Major League Baseball. But for Eovaldi to come out in his second start and pitch like that may have spun the Reds into a deep, dark depression or something, because just in the same game. But he kicked off that the slump for the Reds with that first 1-0 win for the Rangers, and he's going to be a 5.
He is, absolutely. Matchups, everything. I mean, matchups, etc. He's a 5.
Anywhere? Sorry, it seems like the internet here in the office is a little iffy today, but did you draft Eovaldi anywhere?
You know what? I mean, probably. When you draft as many teams as we do. He was on my radar. There was no reason I didn't draft him, so I probably would have taken him as my SB3 or 4 at some point.
I didn't take him in a single league, and it's not because I was actively avoiding him. I just didn't like him as much as I probably should have.
Sometimes it happens, right?
Jose Yeah, that does happen, but you feel like a dummy when a guy goes out there against your complete game shutout in his second outing of the year. Now, Jose Barrios bounced back. Had a pretty rough outing in his debut at home against Baltimore. Gave up 3 homers, but then last time out against Washington, 5 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs allowed, 8 Ks to only 3 walks. At Boston, at Baltimore, kind of a tough interdivisional 2-step here for Barrios. I think I'm only going to go 3 here on Barrios.
Gosh, oh man, he's my crutch. I'm gonna just say a 3 before I talk myself into higher.
Yeah, he's kind of like a perpetual 3. It feels like every time we talk about him. Now, any reason to consider Easton Lucas? Now, I guess the reason to consider him would be how well he pitched in his debut. But did have only 3 Ks over 5 innings, 1 hit allowed. Pretty amazing. Not a guy I know a ton about, Easton Lucas. So until I see a little bit more, I'm probably going lower, but some people may not have that luxury of waiting. Probably only a 1, though, until I see something else.
I'm not even sure if I'm going that high. All right, I'm going to go 1 because I'm aggressive. I'm going to go 1.
Now, Trevor Williams had such great results last year, but we know that the stuff is not really great, and underlying numbers do not support the numbers last year. And 10 hits in 5 innings in his debut. 3 Ks, no walks, but very hittable guy here. So versus the Dodgers at Miami, even with the second half of that, I think I'm going to go 0.
I am as well.
How do you feel good about
like you
starting
said,
Trevor Williams?
Yeah, balls in play. Yeah, no. It's a 0.
All right, well, that'll do it. We will recap our grades here for the week of April 7th, 2025. All right, Zach Gallant, 5. Luis Severino, 1. All right, back at it here. Chris Sale, 5. Zach Eflin, 3. Garrett Crochet, 5. Tanner Houck, I say 2, Todd, 3. Justin Steele, I say 2, Todd, 3. Hunter Green, 5. Logan Allen, 1. Kyle Freeland, 0. Shane Smith, I say 1, Todd, 2. Casey Mize, 3. Hayden Wesneski, I say 3, Todd, 1. Michael Lorenzen, 2. Cole Reagan's 5. Kyle Hendricks is 0. Dustin May, 3. Connor Gillespie, 0. Freddie Peralta, 4. Simeon Woods Richardson, 1. Pablo Lopez, 5. Cody Senga, I say 4, Todd, 5. Zach Wheeler, 5. Carmen Mladzinski, 0. Michael King, 5. Logan Gilbert, 5. Logan Webb, 5. Matthew Liberatore, I say 2, Todd, 1. Shane Boz, 4. Nathan Eovaldi, 5. Jose Barrios, 3. Easton Lucas, 1. And finally, Trevor Williams, 0. All right, man. Well, great stuff. We're going to be recording a little bit later next week, sounds like, but still on for next Friday. Anything else on your mind today, Todd?
I don't think it's out yet, but if you like hearing me mispronounce names and just make dumb statements, I'm on the HQ pod this week, HQ Radio, with Ray Murphy, Patrick Davitt, so we can, again, check that out. I don't think I mispronounced a whole lot of names when we did it. But anyway, so yeah, I'm there, and I check my standings. It's okay if you guys do too. Don't check mine. Check your own.
Still a long, long way to go, but it always feels good to get off to a good start than a slow start. But keep clawing away, and we'll be doing that all season long here on the podcast. I want to thank everybody for being with us today. I want to thank Vivid Seats. We were brought to you by Vivid Seats. And remember, we'll be back with you next week, a little later than our normal start time, but we will talk to you next Friday to start pitchers on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast.